Data interpretation, grammar, prepared and presented by VGR. Research papers and scientific studies are often accompanied by large amounts of information. The records are maintained in the form of data that needs to be interpreted or analyzed to be understood. The process of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of highlighting useful information, suggesting conclusions, and supporting decision making is described as data interpretation. One needs to follow a few important steps while interpreting data. He or she should read the data carefully and thoroughly and make note of any special expression that he or she comes across. It requires analysis and comparison of the given facts and drawing inferences or conclusions based on them. How to write data interpretation in English? First point, a detailed study of the data provided must be done. The gist of the data and its subject must be understood. While writing the analytical details, care should be taken not to provide exact replica of figures, percentages, etc. One needs to present language skills while providing a description and avoid quoting of mathematical expression. The answer should be done in a single paragraph. To contain within the specified word limit, if the provided data is in excess, use conjunctions to build long and effective sentences. Grammatical accuracy, along with non-repetition of the same vocabulary or sentences, must be maintained. What is the format to write this? In your paragraph, you should have an introduction, then analyzing the given data, and conclusion. The marking scheme, you will get content 3 marks and expression 2 marks. In the content, the relevant of the topic or content and analyzing the data technique will be valued for 3 marks, and for expression, the grammar, accuracy, and fluency, spelling, vocabulary, everything comes under the expression. There are different types of data that need interpretation, such as a line chart, table chart, pie chart, and bar chart or bar graph. So here I have given a few types here, which is used for our exam purpose here. Bar graph or chart. Here you can able to see the picture of a bar graph, and pie chart. Here you can able to see the picture of a different type of pie charts here, donut pie, pie chart and a normal pie chart. Line chart. Here you can able to see the line chart example. Then tabular form or table. Using the tables, you can make a chart and make a data interpretation. So table chart format is also available. Then radar or web form or radar or web chart. Here you can find the example of radar or web form, which looks like a spider web. And the last one is castle form. For that you need a paragraph. Okay, the castle form have paragraph which deals about a case, and we have to castle it. We have to do the case study and we have to do the interpretation by using the case study. So you will call it as castle form. Okay. So these are the types: bar graph or a chart, pie chart, line chart, table chart, radar or web form, or castle form. First we are entering into the bar graph or chart. In this bar graph you will find different type of bar graphs available: simple bar graph, composite bar graph, stacked bar chart, and bar charts to show deviations. This is an example for the bar chart. And if we move on to the pie chart, this data is present in the form of a circle. There are segments and sectors into which a pie chart is being divided. And each of the segments and sectors forms a certain portion of the total in terms of percentage. In the pie chart, the total of all the data is equal to 360 degrees. The degree of angles that are used to represent different items are calculated in the form of proportionality. So here you can find the normal pie chart which is in 3D form, and here you can find the donut shaped pie chart. This is also constituted in the 360 degree only. Line chart. The line chart is nothing but an upgraded version of a bar chart. It is formed by connecting the uppermost point of the bars so that we have a line. By repeating this following process with bars as well as we will get a line chart. The calculations can be tough, but the main aim of the examiner is to check whether you can apply logic to eliminate options and evaluate the graph, thereby getting the answer. So it's an apt example for the line chart. Next one is a tabular form or chart. One of the simplest method to analyze the data and to display the data in a tabular form. In the tabular form, you get a systematic arrangement of rows and columns. The first column is used to indicate the titles, and the first row is used to indicate the same. It is very accurate as well as an easy method to display the data. Although this is a simple method, it can be time consuming as well. Next one is the radar or web chart or web form. In this question, a web-like diagram is presented to you, and on it various data are displayed. The data given to you is in reference to the central point. Normally in this type of questions, two sets of data are given to you in a comparison sort of a way. You can analyze this data to solve the questions given. The radar based structure is also known as the spider based structure. Okay, so we can compare the spider web structure to a radar or web form of chart. Now, what is the difference between a paragraph and a data interpretation? A paragraph can be written on any topic whatsoever. On the other hand, it compiles a given set of data and frames it into a paragraph. A paragraph usually consists of several sentences that deal with a single subject. Although paragraph has some limitations on length, it may vary according to the subject discussed. However, data interpretation have to give the details of the specified data in a precise, simple, and crisp or short way. So, from these slides, we come to know that data interpretation means explaining with reference to the facts, figures, etc. provided. The data could be in the form of a table, or graph, or percentage, a pie chart, or histogram, etc. So data given should be interpreted and formed into a paragraph of 100 words. The paragraph should be formal and relevant. So here an example for you. I have used here the pie chart which shows the expenditure of Mr. Mebin's family. We are going to interpret the data by using the pie chart in 100 words. Here you can able to see the pie chart. Food 30%, rent 20%, transport 18%, clothing 17%, savings 5%, and entertainment 10%. So what may be the answer? The answer here is the pie chart shows that Mr. Mebin's family spends 50% of the entire income on food and rent. It seems they reside in a big town where rent and food are costly. Money seems to be spent much on clothing, which is almost incomparable with the rent paid. An inequitable amount is spent, that is transport, and on entertainment, The most crucial aspect of the family is that they have very few savings that turn up to 5% of the income. So it would be definitely be unsafe for future. Measures should be taken to reduce the expenses to increase the savings. So Mr. Mebin could reduce the expenditure on clothing so that it would be possibly increasing savings. So this is the answer for the question. Now, the expressions that we have to follow which are useful in our interpreting data. First point, to report an increasing trend, a slight, a constant, marked, substantial increase in sales. These are the expressions you can use for the trend for increasing. Okay, an increase of about, roughly, or approximately, or in the region of percentage. You can use these expressions too. A little over or above what we predicted, the recovery, upturn began in. These are the words also you can use for interpreting the data. Or an overall increase, or an upward trend in the demand for. A sales reached record levels or reached a peak in, or a strong surge in the sales of, by month the figure had risen to. We predict that sales will soar in the coming year or over the next months. So these are the expressions you can use to report an increased trend. Okay, these expressions will be useful for the point to quote the report of an increasing trend. Next one, the expression to report decreasing trends. What are the expressions we can use for interpretation? Like just under our target, way below our expectations, a slight or notable or significant decrease in, or a drop of about percentage in, a slight or regular or dramatic decline or reduction in, and the downturn began in, then the situation began to deteriorate in, the number has continued to fall. So these are the expressions we can use to report the decreasing trend in the interpretation of a data. Next one, to show fluctuations and variations. For example, in the line chart, isn't it? A slow start developed into steady progress in sales. An initial upward trend was followed by, we noted slight fluctuations throughout the year. Normal seasonal variations are the cause of the occasional downward trends. Sales have been irregular, the level or the rate has been unstable since, or you will note certain instability in the rate of. So these are the expressions we can maximum use to show the fluctuations and variations of the line chart or the bar chart, etc. Okay. Then to show constancy or no change, we can use these expressions like has plateaued and steadied, has seen or registered or experienced or show no change, has remained constant or static or unchanged or unaltered or the same. These are the expressions you can use to show constancy or no change in the interpretation of data. Next one, to report portions and proportions. For these technique, we can use these kind of expressions like 2/3 of, or 1/4 of, a quarter of, or as many as 20%, or less than 40%, as high as 75%. So these are the expressions or phrases you can use to report the proportions and proportions in the interpretation of a data. Next, reporting similarities and differences. While comparing two two chart, you can use the similarities and differences. For that, you can use these kind of expressions like is the same as, or similar to, or is, or comparable with, or is better than, or more than double, or half as much, or not as big as, or as large as, or many time over or more. So these are the expression you can use it for comparing two pie charts or two bar graphs, especially in the web chart. You can have the reporting of similarities and differences. Okay, so for that you can use these kind of expressions in your data interpretation. Next one, drawing conclusions. At the end, you have to show some conclusions in the paragraph. For that, you can use these kind of expressions in your paragraph. For example, appropriate measures must be taken. The only option we have is to, these changes are inevitable, the result or outcome will be. So these are the expressions you can use it for the interpretation data at the time of conclusion of a paragraph, while changing them into a paragraph. Then important tips, you have to read the instructions carefully. Carefully identify the increasing or decreasing and fluctuation trends. Write an introductory line or an overview describing what the given chart or table or graph shows, and then go on to briefly summarize the data and report the main points of your analysis. Okay, then we will go to the questions for practice now. First question, study the chart given below, which is the result of the survey conducted in public schools and government schools of Vadodara. This depicts the types of activities the teenagers, that is from age 13 to 19 years, are involved during their leisure time. Complete the summary in about 80 words. So here they have given the limit 80 words. Here is a chart for you. You can find a 40 percentage and 30 percentage uh, of people used to watch TV till 35, 30 to 40, 35 percentage. You can able to see the watching TV. And net surfing, you can see the net surfing level, it's very high. Okay, and cell phone usage, you can able to find it's also in the medium level. And friends, moving with the friends, you can find the difference here. Here you find the two composite bar is used here. Two bar is used in the same place. One, the blue is stands for public and the purple stands for the government students. Okay, public schools and government schools here. Public for blue and government stands for the purple color here. So you can find the difference of the two schools in a same paragraph. You call it as a composite bar graph. Okay, so here we are going for the answers. Teenagers and leisure time is the topic I have given here. Nowadays, the teenagers are more techno savvy than the children used to be 10 years back. They do not play games like Ludo, Carom, chess, and other indoor games. 9 to 18% of boys and girls in the age group of 13 to 19 years possesses their own cell phones. In the survey conducted recently on some 2,000 students of two leading schools, one government and the other a public school, the following facts were revealed. While the students from public schools spend more of their leisure time in net surfing and talking on cell phones, the government school students spend it in watching TV and talking to their friends. So here you can find the introduction, then they are a survey, it's analyzing the data, and at the end you can find the conclusion in the same paragraph that they are giving the conclusion. The public school is involved in the net surfing, whereas in the government school students were involving in the watching TV and talking with their friends. So this is the answer for the first question. Now we are moving on to the second one. Question number 2, global weather is warming and leading to Arctic meltdown. Study the following pie chart and write a brief paragraph on factors affecting global warming in about 100 words. Here also you can find the limit, word limit has given. So here is a pie chart that increase greenhouse gases and proportion of human activity is also given. So for each color they have given energy use, industry, land use change, agriculture, refrigeration, and air conditioning. These are the different colors they have used to identify the different categories here. Okay, now we are going for the answers. Global warming is primarily a result of greenhouse effect caused by too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which acts as a blanket, trapping heat and warming the planet. This becomes an introduction part. Now, burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas for energy, cutting down and burning forests to create pastures and plantations leads to carbon accumulation. Refrigeration and air conditioning and certain agriculture practices also aggravate the problem by releasing additional potent global warming gases such as methane and nitrous oxide. Over the last century, global average temperature has increased by more than 0.7 degrees Celsius. So you find the analyzing of data in these lines. Then conclusion, you can now, a warming world also has the potential to change rainfall and snow patterns, increase droughts and severe storms, reduce lake ice cover, melt glaciers, increase sea level, and change plant and animal behavior. So this paragraph constitutes to be the conclusion. So you find the introduction, analysis of data, and conclusion in the single a short paragraph. So this is the answer for the question number 2. Now we are moving on to the third question. Third question, study the pie chart given here and write a brief paragraph on water pollution in about 100 words. Here also you find the word limit. You can find 50% domestic wastage, then erosion, then phosphate in detergents, pesticides, and bathing, washing clothes in water bodies. So these are the pollution they have given in the form of a pie chart with percentage. Okay. Now we are going to get the answer for this question. Water is undoubtedly, sometimes they will ask the question in this format too in the exam point of view. So water is undoubtedly the most precious natural resources. We often disregard this threat by polluting our rivers, lakes, and oceans. The most important cause for water pollution in water bodies are dumped into urban water supplies, leading to water pollution. Pollutants like some of the major sources of water pollution, nitrates and phosphates contained in sewage and fertilizers, overstimulated the growth of aquatic plants, which clog our waterways. Water pollution leads to the outbreak of numerous lethal and contagious diseases. So here you can find the fill in the blanks form A, B, C, D, and E. You can find the fill in the blanks or gaps. You have to fill the gaps by using the pie chart. Okay, so this is a question for you. Sometimes in your exam point of view, they will ask this type of question also for 5 marks. Okay, the answer for the question number 3 is for the A, as without water there would be no life on earth. And for B is dumping of untreated domestic sewages in rivers. For answer C, effluents from factories, refineries, injection wells, and sewage treatment plants. And for answer D, fertilizers and pesticides. And for E, using up dissolved oxygen as they decompose. So this is the answer for the question number 3. So this type of questions will be available in your board exams too. Next, question number 4. The below given chart depicts the monthly expenditure of Mr. Mohan Kumar, a resident of Madras. Write a paragraph using this data. So here is the data items and monthly expenditure in percentage. Food 35%, clothing 15%, rent 10%, fuel 10%, other expensive 20%, and saving 10%. So total it comes under 100%, will be divided into the form of monthly expenditure in percentage form. Now we are going to write the answer for the question number 4. Answer is, expenditure of an individual highly depends on his lifestyles, location, needs, desires, and daily requirements. Besides, the price of various products also determine expenditure and saving of an individual. The above chart represents the monthly expenditure of Mr. Mohan Kumar. He spends the maximum part of his income on food, as 35% of his total income goes into buying the necessary items. He spends the minimum amount on fuel and rent, 10% each. 15% of his income is spent on buying clothes, while his other monthly expenses constitutes 20% of the income. Almost 90% of his income goes into buying the various unnecessary items. The total monthly saving of Mr. Mohan Kumar is merely 10%. So from this data, we come to a result that an individual could save 10% from his monthly expenses after spending it for other items too. So in this paragraph, you find that you will get an introduction, then analyzing of the data, and you will get the conclusion. So this is the format we are following for a writing a data interpretation. But here they have given, if they are giving a word limit, you have to follow the word limit also. Okay, the same words are not repeated, isn't it? So these are the techniques we are using for writing a data interpretation. So I hope you understand this video and you have understand this topic, data interpretation. If you feel this is good, then you can give a like and subscribe it. Thank you.